Well, I made the mistake of turning on the news, and I listened to some of Trump talking in front of the Department of Justice, spewing his goddamn lies, telling things about us, about Americans. I can't stand that man. And now I find out I have pneumonia, and I can't march tomorrow. Hold up the truth, warriors. Hold it up for me. I can't be with you.
Y'all want to know one real reason why America's crashing out like crazy right now? Mediocrity don't hit like it used to, baby. See, once upon a time in America, you could be real mid and still thrive. Mediocre effort, boom, you get a house, car, annual vacation, pension, hell, maybe even a boat. You could clock in, coast through the week, grill on Sundays, and still retire with dignity. But that era is dead and gone, baby. And instead of leveling up or adapting, they're mad, they're bitter, and they're not even blaming the billionaires. They blaming you. They have the audacity to blame me. They blaming immigrants, black people, queer folk, anyone they think is taking something that used to be theirs by default. See, they don't want equality. They want comfort. And when mediocrity no longer gets them that comfort, they start rewriting the rules to rig the game again. It ain't about fairness. It's about preserving the lie. The lie that being average should still be enough for them.
Everybody keeps saying it's going to get better. How is it going to get better? Our economy is so fucked that I work a full-time job. I make $21 an hour working 40 hours a week. I have no extra expenses, no bills out of my living. I have one credit card that's maxed because I've lived off of it, but other than that, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 10 years. We have cell phones, but, you know, that's required to live on. But other than that, nothing extra. On paper, my bills are $2,701. My income is $2,710. Do the math. $9 a month before I pay for food, gas, car repairs, any entertainment. There's no money for that. And my car is dying. It's paid for, so I don't have car payments now that I'm going to replace. And I don't know how to do that on $9 a month. $9 to feed myself, $9 to buy a car, $9 for insurance. Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is me because I worked 8.5 hours a day knowing that it's not enough, that it won't be enough. Fuck you, Ontario.
Conservatives and anyone who believes in right-wing ideology are really pitiful people. Look at it this way. We live in such a cultural and historically rich world. There are 195 countries in the world with so much beautiful music, cuisine, amazing art and history, and amazing people. And so rather than embracing this vast, beautiful earth that we live on, conservatives have chosen to make their world small, to live in this delusional reality where there has to be hierarchy amongst countries and cultures. And as someone who's traveled to more than 30 countries now, I think it's one of the most pathetic things ever. Because what I've learned from traveling and speaking to people from all over the world is that there are so many beautiful things that link us together as people. I remember when I first moved to Germany and I was learning German, and I found a linguistic connection between German and Jamaican patois. So in Jamaican patois, we say shub, which means push. And I remember one day in my German class, we learned the word for push, which is schubst. And I was like, that can't be a coincidence. So I decided to Google it, and I learned that there is this German-Jamaican connection where Western Germans moved to Jamaica after slavery was abolished and ran plantations there. And that's why we have Germantown in Jamaica. And a lot of white Jamaicans have German ancestry. And there were so many times where I was living in different countries or even traveling, and I saw a type of food, a piece of art that reminded me of somewhere else. And an integral part of traveling for me is sharing parts of my culture and perspectives with other people. But what you'll find with a lot of right-wing people is that they have a weakened sense of self. Their cultural identity is extremely weak, and this is why they have to rely on the hierarchy and the subjugation of others to feel like they have some sort of belonging in the world. They can only experience belonging by feeling better than someone else. Whereas a lot of us who have strong cultural ties, we don't need that hierarchy because a lot of us already know who we are. We have a strong sense of culture and belonging. And I think it is one of the most privileged things to have. Going through this world with open eyes and open arms and fully experiencing life for what it was meant to be. Beautiful, not this miserable existence being plagued by hatred, but it's really hatred for themselves that they love to project onto other people.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like, we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally, because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality, because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like, it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like, it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in a city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world, and thus denying ourselves.
So it's being said that young white men have been radicalized because they've been disenfranchised. And there's some truth to that. But I believe that their disenfranchisement has been the result of the unfulfilled promises of privilege. Like, their complaint is that, I'm 27, I'm 30 years old, and I have no financial, economic, or romantic prospects. And newsflash, that's literally what people of color and marginalized groups have been complaining about for decades, for generations, about their lack of prospects in this country. That has actually actively led to their disenfranchisement, well, our disenfranchisement, because I'm one of them. But we worked and we learned our way out of that so that we wouldn't be in position where we elected into leadership our actual oppressors. See, young white men don't view or identify older white males as their oppressors because they look like them, because they're their dads and their uncles. But unfortunately, the fact that those promises of privilege have not been fulfilled for them, that the entitlement that they have been raised in, like, and ingrained within them, the fact that all of this is yours and for you and, as divine by the will of God, and none of it should you have to work for, which is part of what their complaint is, and they don't want a competitive space in a competitive world. You know, the chant in Charlottesville, Jews will not replace us. This fear of being replaced because in a competitive marketplace, you haven't been bred for generations to compete. You have been told that you were entitled to all of it, and it is your birthright. So you haven't competed. You haven't improved yourself. You haven't built skills to put you in a place to compete with the people of color who have been told their whole lives for generations twice as hard for half as much. But again, the radicalization of these young white males is just the unfulfilled promises of privilege. But now you find yourself in a space where you are facing the same world as the groups that have been marginalized by your fathers and your grandfathers. So I think the solution is to actually find yourself unifying with these marginalized groups who have worked so hard to scale and achieve. And I know that's a big blow to your ego, because you've been told your whole life and for generations that they are less than you, that they are beneath you, that they are inherently genetically inferior to you. Which I understand how that contributes to your rage, because these people who you have been told and made to believe are inferior to you have accelerated far beyond you. But that's not their fault, because they were never told that they deserved all of it by birth. It's the fault of your fathers and your grandfathers who withheld this from you. No immigrant took your job. Your father and your grandfathers and your uncles gave them to them. They preferred them to you because they will work harder for less money. The solution for you is to work harder and to unify with these people so that we all can live in a competitive society with fair compensation for fair work. And right now you're at a point in history where you have the choice to either unify with the oppressed or identify with the oppressors. Make the right choice.
Just finished a morning run, sweating bullets, but I have to say this while I'm thinking about it. Almost every week I see someone ask the question, why are white men so angry? And while I cannot begin to expound on the many reasons why that might be, what I can say is this: I view all social problems through a lens of societal systems, because as a sociologist, that's what I'm trained to do. And here is the design flaw in systems of privilege. When you build systems of hierarchy and privilege, when you build systems of hierarchy and privilege, the privilege is actually what weakens you. The privilege makes you weak because when you socialize an entire group of people to believe that I exist, therefore I deserve. I exist, therefore I am entitled. I exist, therefore the path of prosperity should be laid out very cleanly ahead of me, and I don't have to work hard, and I don't have to struggle, and I don't have to dig deep. I just have to receive. Meanwhile, you are socializing all other groups to survive with less resources, with less privilege. And so as a byproduct of their survival, they are becoming adaptable, resilient, creative, resourceful. They are developing the muscle for survival that they subsequently turn into systems for success and prosperity. Meanwhile, the privileged group is not developing these systems. And when they start to see the disenfranchised group becoming stronger, gaining opportunities, building systems of success, rather than say, hey, maybe we ought to be doing that too, no. Privilege doubles down. Privilege digs deep into the well of anger and grievance and says, you are the reason why I can't be successful. You are taking opportunities away from me and my children and generations. And so now, rather than develop the muscle of resilience, what I'm going to do now is start taking privileges away from you. And now I'm going to start taking your resources, and now I'm going to start burning your house down in hopes that you will get back to where I think you ought to be, which is underneath me. Not realizing that the more you do that, the more privileges you take away, the more systems of success you try to dismantle, you are only making them more creative, more adaptable, more resilient, and more resourceful. So it becomes this Ouroboros, this snake eating its own tail, because the very system that you designed to uplift yourself is actually the one that is putting you far behind, because you never develop the muscle, the work ethic, the resilience, the innovation, and the creativity as the disenfranchised group.
Can someone please explain to me why conservative white men feel they are under attack in the United States? Because the last time I checked, every single U.S. president has been a man. Only one of those men has been a man of color. White men have never been enslaved in this country. White men have never been denied their right to vote in this country, nor has that ever been on the fucking table. Just because people want the same rights that you've always had doesn't mean that you're the victim.
So the white Americans are in Mexico, as usual, causing problems for the Mexican citizens there. I mean, How dare you go to someone else's country to retire? Because you're a guest, literally. You're a guest there. This is not your home. You're there, you're retired, whatever you're doing, vacation, and then y'all go there and complain about what they do every day that's a part of who they are, their culture, and their way of life, because it inconveniences you. And then now some of y'all upset that they're taking to the streets and protesting your existence in their country. Your existence there. They're destroying your properties that you have built, the businesses that you've built there, that's driving their economy up, the cost of living up for them. And y'all upset. Go Mexico. Keep up the good work.
Hi guys, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I really hope you have watched the full combination of the clips, and all credits goes to the creator of the video. And guys, in today's clip is all about how white people, they are really much furious and they're really worried about how they're really drawing poverty. And funny thing is that black people, they ain't maybe helping them. Black people, they have just decided to remain silent. And this thing, it's really bothering a lot of white people, and they are really upset that they are really going through a lot, and there's not any black people that has really came out in large number and complain of how the current economy is really affecting them a lot. And black people, they have really came out in large number, and they're saying that we can be in a position to help you, but us also, we have been through this for a very long period of time. We have been through hell for a very long period of time, for centuries, and no any person really came out and maybe stand with us. We really stand out with our own feet, and we are used to this. These things that are really happening current now in America, we are used to them because we have been through this for a very long period of time. And another thing that really making a lot of black people not to maybe help them is that black people really came out in large number, and they warned these people not to vote for this new administration, but they didn't listen. They warned them and they told them not to vote for this new administration, but they really went ahead and they decided to put the same person in an office who had the same skin color with them. They didn't want to put someone who had a different skin color in an office. And right now, they are just going through a lot. And what I can really say is that Donald Trump is just doing what he promised these people will do. During his campaign, he just doing what he told these people will do. His agendas are the same, because he went ahead and said that when he will be elected, first thing he will deport all the illegal immigrants, all the immigrants that were in America. And these people really went ahead and they voted for the deportation of immigrants. Right now, we've all seen how a lot of white farmers, not only even farmers, there's a lot of white people who are really complaining because there's not anyone to go and work for them. Not only white farmers, there are also those immigrants that were really working in other people's homes, and they were really good at that. But right now, we've all seen that for those who were really suffering a lot are the white farmers, because they really went ahead and they were convinced to vote for the deportation of immigrants. Right now, their crops, they're rotting their farms. There's not anyone to pick up their crops. They are going bankrupt. They are losing their farms. They are really crying out for help to an extent whereby they are telling the government to bail them out. But a lot of people have really come out in line number, and they're saying that there's no way our taxpayer money will bail you out. There's no way you are asking for government outlaws, because when other people really ask for socialism, you told them to work very hard, but right now you want it. So just do the same. You have to pull up your bootstrap and work very hard, because there's no way our taxpayer money will help you. And another person will come out and say that black people do not complain. They have turned a deaf ear to you outcries. Black people, you are strong and you know to survive and thrive when the times are difficult. Yeah, one thing I really love about black people is that they really know how to survive and thrive when there is difficult times, because these people have been through this for a very long period of time, for centuries. Imagine through slave trade. You see how black people really went through a lot during the early slave trade. These people were being tortured, were being punished through harsh conditions, and right now they're used to this. And one thing I really love about my black brothers is how they really have strong faith when they come to God. Another person actually came out and said that, do they think black are not affected? The difference is what they are going through for the first time. That was blacks' reality for age in the country. So now the real test or hardship is here. Blacks know how to adjust and live from what little they have. It's not that they are not affected, but they know how to adjust life with what little they have. That's the difference. Yeah, black people know how to adjust with their life with very little things. And another person really came out and said that when you steal everything you have to do, you expect to keep it forever. Another person really came out and said that let them suffer. Their arrogancy and presence and selfishness are getting the best of them. We are resting. Hard head make a soft what? The struggle white folks experiencing is how black have always struggled. No need to complain now. Yeah. One thing these people really did, they really did a very bad mistake for voting out of hatred, voting out of racism, and voting against their own interests. They were voting to punish black people and the immigrant, but right now the current economy is just affecting everybody, and this is the reason why maybe blacks, they ain't empathizing with them. So guys, this video is just for educational purpose, and I repeat, all credits goes to original creator of the video. And if it was for the first time you're coming across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. May God bless you whenever you are. One.